Jordan takes revenge on ISIS while pressure builds on President Obama from Republicans and Democrats to up the ante from the U.S. This is Special Report. Good evening. Welcome to Washington. I'm Brett Baer. Jordan wasted little time on making good on its threat to wage war on ISIS following the horrific execution of a captured pilot. Late this afternoon, Jordan's president and king issued a statement, quote, "This is a war the world cannot afford to lose, but to win it, all of us must be in it, to stand as partners in the fight against today's threats and to go beyond to build the conditions for humanity to live together in peace." Meanwhile, President Obama delivered more nuanced talk, but with little action to back it up, and that has even some top Democrats restless. Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry has tonight's top story.
Jordan's military pounded ISIS targets today with 20 of their fighter jets plus 21 American planes as King Abdullah met with the family of the Jordanian pilot who was burned alive. Jordan's foreign minister exclusively telling Fox that after that brutal murder, the air raids have intensified.
We're going to go after them wherever they are, and we're doing that.
At the National Prayer Breakfast, President Obama offered some of his toughest words yet.
We see ISIL, a brutal, vicious death cult that, in the name of religion, carries out unspeakable acts of barbarism.
The president's critics are pushing for him to back up those words with more action.
This president is sitting on the sidelines, putting our allies at risk and allowing radical Islam to run wild throughout the Mideast.
And the pressure started coming today from Democrats like Nancy Pelosi, who joined Republicans in urging the president to give the king more weapons.
Yes, I believe that the administration should move quickly to give more capacity.
For the second straight day, spokesman Josh Earnest ducked questions on whether the president will move quickly to get the king weapons in the short term, though he did reveal the president sealed a new pact with the king, providing $400 million more in aid per year over the long haul.
And we have this continuing security relationship with Jordan.
But there's a crisis right now. Bombs are being dropped in Syria, right? I understand the long term, but the king went back there and said, there's a crisis, we're going in. So will the president prove it?
Well, Ed, this is the United States remains committed to ensuring that we stand shoulder to shoulder with our partners in Jordan.
As the former head of the Defense Intelligence Agency again criticized the president for not calling out Islamic extremism directly.
The Arab leaders they will call it like it is. So why is it that the United States has such a difficult problem? I mean,
well, do you think the president has a difficult problem?
I do. I think he does. I mean, I just think that, call it like it is. I mean, let's get off the dime and just call it like it is.
Which is
Islamic extremism.
Well, at the prayer breakfast, the president compared attacks by Islamic militants to the Christian Crusades, the Spanish Inquisition, and American segregation.
And lest we get on our high horse and think this is unique to some other place, remember that during the Crusades and the Inquisition, people committed terrible deeds in the name of Christ. In our home country, slavery and Jim Crow all too often was justified in the name of Christ.
Now, Republicans are now jumping on the fact that the White House denied a previous request from Jordan to get drones to target ISIS. Tonight, Congressman Duncan Hunter writing the president demanding those drones as well as ammunition, saying the White House needs to show they're all in with Jordan. Brett?
Ed Henry live on the North Lawn. Ed, thank you. My colleague Shepard Smith is once again in Amman, Jordan tonight. Shep, how are the people reacting to the bombing, the increased bombing of these ISIS terrorists?
Well, I spoke with the foreign minister on that matter today, and he said it was exactly what Jordan had promised to do, and it's exactly what Jordan has done. 20 jets, according to our people at the Pentagon, is some 10 times what we would see on a normal day. The foreign minister said, and we'll get to the discrepancies here, but the foreign minister said that Jordan is now operating wherever is necessary. Listen.
We're doing all we can to target ISIS. ISIS has, or Daesh, has removed a physical border between Syria and Iraq. They're in Iraq and they're in Syria, and therefore you have to target them wherever they are.
And he suggested that Jordan was doing exactly that, but the Pentagon has now said that Jordan has not been participating in actual airstrikes over Syria and Iraq, just in Syria. Be that as it may, there's great support for this operation here in country and very few voices saying, do not strike ISIS. That wasn't the case a week ago. That part has changed, Brett.
You know, Shep, the king put out that lengthy statement. Among the items in there was really a lot of talk about his religion. You talked about that with the foreign minister, about what this group should be called from their perspective and how it's different from Islam overall.
Indeed, the foreign minister said, please do not call them Islamic extremists. And his point is that they have left Islam so far behind that that those words shouldn't even be used in the same sentence. His point was Islam is a religion of peace, a religion of honor, and a religion of respect, and that no one in Islam would ever be permitted to set anyone else on fire. That sort of thing would be, by our parlance, a sort of excommunication. So he urged that those words not be used. He understood that he was stepping into a bit of a political firestorm, but said that's the feeling here, Brett.
All right, Shep, in Amman, Jordan, thank you. Let's get more insight on what's happening over there and behind closed doors up on Capitol Hill. Join me tonight is the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Senator Richard Burr. Senator, thanks for being here.
Great to be here.
First, on the parlance that we use. What should we be using, and what about the president and how he characterizes this group?
Well, Brett, let's look at the specific facts. ISIL, a group of 20 to 40,000 fighters, are paid on a regular basis, and in any other country we would call that an army. They're a barbaric army. They've telegraphed everything that they're going to do. And it's amazing how the region is looking to the U.S. to lead, and the White House seems to just be content with following. The king's gone back to Jordan. They've taken the initiative. I hope that that initiative is something that gets us off dead center, because we need to leverage the entire region towards ISIL.
Are we doing enough? Can we get through the bureaucracy that apparently has held up some of this stuff getting to Jordan?
Brett, we took probably 4 times the number of airstrikes today because the Jordanians forced us to than a typical day. All of a sudden, an administration that said we just don't have legitimate targets. The Jordanians found targets today that were meaningful, and I hope that as the after-action reports come back, we'll find out that they did do significant damage. But again, this is a geographical area that makes most of the terrorist grounds that we've gone after in the past look like a playground.
Is this the definition of leading from behind?
Oh, I don't think there's any question it is. But what's at stake here is we're going to lose our regional partners if, in fact, we don't respond to the needs. If we don't answer our friends in the UAE, who are a full-fledged partner, then they're going to drop out. And these are all absolutely crucial components of our intelligence network throughout the Middle East as well.
And what's your sense of their concerns in this whole why they would not be bombing in Syria?
Well, they want to make sure that they've got the assets to bring their people back if, in fact, their planes went down. They want to make sure that America's on the front line. It doesn't mean we have to be right there inside, but it means we've got to be on the front line. And listen, every month that goes by, I see a new deployment of 82nd Airborne or Camp Lejeune Marines coming out of North Carolina, going over, training, advising, but being told you can't shoot your weapon unless somebody's shooting at you. That's not the Army we prepare.
We do these stories again and again and again. It doesn't seem to be changing. For the people out there who say, is anything moving? Is anything changing besides what Jordan is doing in the lead in Arab countries? Is anything changing in the dynamics here in the U.S.?
Well, I hear the talk out of the White House of the progress we've made. For every 1 ISIL fighter we kill, 3 come over the Turkish border as new recruits. They've got money. They've got something to sell, which is terrorism, barbaric terrorism, and we hope that they run out of recruits to go after.
Are you worried that they're going to come here?
I'm always worried that they're going to come here.
I mean, do you see stuff day to day that really raises your red flag about ISIS here?
In 14 years serving on the Intelligence Committee, either in the House or the Senate, I have greater fears today about something happening in the homeland than at any point after 9/11.
Any time after 9/11?
Yes. Absolutely.
specific.
Yes. Any time after 9/11, I've got more fears today, just simply because we're against a different enemy. We're against one that we might not be able to pick up the effort of an individual set of brothers like we saw in Paris. That now, as we look back, there was every reason to watch these folks very carefully. We're the best in the world, make no mistake about it, but we're not perfect. That's what scares me.
One more thing on this and what the president said today at the prayer breakfast. He said, unless we get on our high horse, lest we think that this is unique, and he pointed back to the Crusades and people doing terrible deeds in the name of Christ. What do you make of that?
You don't win this with rhetoric. You win it with action. You win it by putting together a coalition of people that are willing to actually go out and do something, and that's kill terrorists.
I want to turn to a domestic issue. You were one of the senators leading an alternative to Obamacare, putting it out. It's a framework, though. It's not real chock full of specifics. Can you break it down for us?
Yeah, we've put out a draft that we've solicited the best and the brightest to comment on it and make changes. But what it does is it repeals Obamacare. It sets up a fundamental framework which is financially sustainable into the future. We address those low-income Americans with targeted tax credits for the individual or for the family. We address changes like tort reform and things that have been cost increasers in the system. We actually go in and say to Medicaid beneficiaries, individuals on state Medicaid plans, listen, if Medicaid doesn't work for you, we'll give you the tax credit and you can go in the private marketplace and buy in a competitive insurance marketplace and be like everybody else. We don't treat them as second-class citizens.
Preconditions?
Preconditions, as long as they stay insured after the open period, there's no plan that could ever drop them or raise their rate because of an illness.
Do you think Republicans rally around one alternative before the end of this Congress?
I don't think so. I think that there are going to be a lot of ideas, not only in Congress, but around the think tanks here in Washington and around the country. But I do say this, that we're going to know a lot more after the Supreme Court hears the King versus Burwell case, and that's going to be a short-term interim response. The long-term is, how do we revamp this in 2017 and after so it works for America's patients?
Senator Burr, as always, thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Up next, another major cyber attack, this time on one of the key providers of Obamacare coverage. First, here's what some of our Fox affiliates around the country are covering tonight. Fox 4 in Dallas with jury selection for the accused killer of retired Navy SEAL Chris Kyle. Eddie Ray Roth is charged with killing Kyle and another man at a North Texas gun range. Kyle's the subject, of course, of the hit movie American Sniper. Roth's attorneys plan to pursue an insanity defense. Fox Carolina in Greenville with 2 dead and apparent murder-suicide on the campus of the University of South Carolina. The shooting occurred at the New School of Public Health in the busy section of downtown Columbia. Officials are not releasing any further details right now. And this is a live look at Denver from our affiliate out there, Fox 31. The big story there tonight, public tax money likely paying for welfare recipients to smoke the equivalent of 9,000 joints in 2014. People who are given electronic cards loaded with money for essentials are withdrawing cash at ATMs in marijuana retail facilities. That's tonight's live look outside the Beltway from Special Report. We'll be right back.